That's Nick.
And that's Joseph, and today we're here to revisit Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem and Madness, the phenomenon that is the new Netflix documentary series, because they have an 8th episode, a 40-minute segment that's narrated, hosted by Joel McHale, of all people, who is interviewing remotely 7 different figures from the series that are not currently incarcerated, airing April 12th, 2020, otherwise known as Easter, otherwise known as Happy Zombie Jesus Day.
Yes. I was disappointed with this bonus episode. I wouldn't even call it an episode.
Yeah.
It just looks like a Zoom meeting. But
It's basically what it is.
So the 7 people he interviews are Saff, the trans gentleman who had his arm ripped off by a tiger.
Jeff Finlay, or John Finlay.
John Finlay,
Jeff
one of
Lowe.
his husbands with 3 teeth.
Who
now has a full set of teeth.
Jeff Lowe.
Jeff Lowe and his wife Lauren.
Erik Cowie.
Erik Cowie, who was
the head keeper.
Okay.
John Reinke, who's also
another one of the keepers.
Josh Dial,
who was
he ran his campaign.
His political campaigns.
And Rick Kirkland,
the producer who was filming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There weren't basically, it was just a repeat of everything we already know. So why don't we just run down some of the things we didn't know, which aren't that many.
There weren't that many. Saff being misgendered in the.
So that was a big surprise. I didn't realize Saff was trans. I thought Saff was just a butch old lesbian, but he's a trans man.
They present him as a her in the series,
right?
So,
And Joel asks him, "How did you feel about being misgendered?" And he says it didn't bother him. But that was news to me, so I'm glad that was corrected. Also, Saff said that he didn't pursue monetary compensation for having his hand ripped off.
Right, and that they used the incident as a safety.
The video of him being attacked, they've used as a safety video at the zoo. What else did we learn?
For most of these people, Joel McHale asked them who they think should play them in the series.
Right.
Saff had mentioned Brendan Baker, who played Johnny Tsunami, and then Joel McHale suggested Ken Jeong should play Saff.
We'll talk about Joel McHale, because I have issues with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, other info we didn't know.
There really wasn't a whole awful lot, except it was just interesting to hear people that had spent so many years with Joe Exotic say they had a greater allegiance with the animals.
Right. They all said they were more committed to the animals at the park. They all, for the ones who were asked, they all feel like Joe deserves to be in prison.
Yes, and Saff is kind of the only one that advocated for him a little bit, also saying that there's a little,
He's, for all the bad he did good things too. John Finlay has dentures now, which he says he wears most of the time. They look great.
Yeah, he looks like a different person.
Yeah, he has a terrible goatee situation, but he didn't really reveal anything.
No, and I found McHale most awkward interviewing him.
Yeah. What else did we learn? The director, Rick
Kirkland.
He relayed a story about Joe, which I had read on the blogs previously, of Joe taking a horse as some woman was looking for sanctuary for her old horse. Joe said he'll take care of the horse, and as soon as the woman pulled off, Joe shot the horse and fed it to the tigers.
I think the only thing really of interest is Kirkland reveals that Joe Exotic he's afraid of large cats.
I would say that's the biggest reveal, is that allegedly Joe is afraid of big cats, and he says that in one of the scenes where Joe is in the cage with the white tiger and a lion, that the white tiger is blind
and the other one's tranquilized.
And the other animal was tranquilized, but that Joe was very afraid of big cats, which is interesting. I'm afraid of them just looking at people standing near them, so it isn't unreasonable to me, but that was interesting. There's really nothing else. No bombs were dropped.
No, I really think the only thing that's going to feed a desire, if you have it, is if and when a reenactment is made.
Yeah, if a film is made, I think that'll really satisfy.
Because another spin-off series or trying to present a different perspective. the function of documentaries is no longer to be objective. I think that clearly, it's like Making of a Murder, how much didn't make it into that series that really was kind of pertinent information. What's the agenda of the filmmakers? You should always be asking yourself that with whatever you watch anyway.
Sure.
But
the only other thing I have to say about this bonus episode is Joel McHale. He has a particular sense of humor, and it was on display, very similar to his like act on Talk Soup, kind of being like awkwardly funny and shady.
Yeah.
He had the nerve to make fun of two people's hairstyles. Meanwhile, his hair plugs were on full display. Clearly, he doesn't have access to someone doing his hair. And it's very obvious that he's like sprinkling some kind of hair fiber in there to fill in the gaps.
I thought he looked
crazy.
I thought he looked like he'd been electrocuted.
He also, I don't think he knows how to wear his Apple AirPods because they were awkwardly positioned.
He just is not to me, this is the reason the tawdriness of Tiger King is what really is attracting everybody to it. And he's part of that ilk. Like, it would have been nice to have somebody that was a little more sincere.
I would have been much more satisfied if Keith Morrison had interviewed these people. Where's Keith? Can someone find Keith in Canada somewhere? Anyway, that's all I have to say. It's only 40 minutes, so I guess it's worth the watch, but you won't learn anything new.
No, it was like an interview with the vampire. You can't drink dead blood.
Bye.